There's a big terror encounter that's underway in Handwara in Kashmir. 3 braves of the Central Reserve Police Force have been killed in action in a terrorist strike. The security forces have now mounted a counter-terror operation in Handwara. Remember, this incident is taking place barely 11 kilometers away from the spot where 5 braves of the Indian Army had made the supreme sacrifice of their lives barely 30 years ago in Handwara in North Kashmir. There's an encounter that's on. 3 CRPF braves have been killed in that encounter. There are reports of 1 terrorist also being killed. The Army, the Central Reserve Police Force and the Jammu and Kashmir Police, they've cordoned off this area even after sundown. It's 10 o'clock at night, and even this late in the night, this entire area has locked down, and there is a search that's on to ensure that the terrorists are unable to escape from this area. I'm Gaurav Sawant. The encounter in Handwara, the encounter that took place earlier in Handwara, in which we lost 5 of our braves, including the commanding officer and a company commander of a Rashtriya Rifles battalion. That's our top focus story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also hit out at this virus of terror that comes from our neighborhood. India, he said, is like a pharmacy to the world. And then India is also combating this virus of terror. That story and lots more coming up. Let's get started. I will tell you in greater detail about India's war on the virus of terror, because that remains our top focus story. But before I come to Pakistan's state-sponsored terror that's now hit our people for the second time in 30 hours, let me take you through the big numbers on India's war with the novel coronavirus. The big numbers now on your television screen, with 43,000 confirmed coronavirus cases in our country. 42,836 cases to be precise. 1,389 people have lost their lives in the war against novel coronavirus. But the good news is 11,762 people have recovered. That's the latest information that's coming from the Health Ministry around 9:30 this evening. We will talk about India's war on coronavirus. We'll also talk about India's war on the virus of Pakistan's state-sponsored terror. But before that, let me take you through the top developments. And our top story comes from Maharashtra, which unfortunately remains the #1 state hit by coronavirus. And a major fight broke out over face mask in Mumbai. 5 people attacked a 33-year-old man and his wife with knives. The accused were retaliating after they were simply asked to put on their masks. The police now investigating the matter. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal chaired his first physical cabinet meeting in the national capital today. Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, Health Minister Satyendra Jain were amongst those who were present in this cabinet meeting. The auspicious event of the famous Meenakshi temple in Tamil Nadu's Madurai was celebrated indoors. The rituals, of course, were telecast live. Usually, this day sees many pilgrims flocking to the temple to witness the event. But I want to take you to Handwara in North Kashmir for the latest. 3 braves of the Central Reserve Police Force have made the supreme sacrifice of their lives while combating Pakistan's state-sponsored terror in North Kashmir. This encounter that took place in Handwara is barely 11 kilometers away from the encounter that took place near the Rajwad forest area, where 5 braves of the Indian Army and the Jammu and Kashmir Police made the supreme sacrifice of their lives, including the commanding officer of 21 Rashtriya Rifles, Colonel Ashutosh Sharma, the company commander, Major Anuj Sood, and 3 braves, 2 of the Army and 1 of the Jammu and Kashmir Police. Now, in this encounter, we are told a CRPF patrol party was targeted by terrorists. This appears to be a very desperate attempt to boost the morale of terrorists, but the CRPF hit back. We are told one suspected terrorist has been killed. We are also told a 14-year-old boy apparently was killed in the crossfire. And I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Shujaul Haq for more on this big story, big developing story in North Kashmir's Handwara area. Shuja, can you give us more details about the operation that's currently on and explain this sudden spike, sudden spurt in terrorist activities in North Kashmir? This comes at a time when 65 terrorists have been killed this year and 28 in the month of April alone, Shuja.
Well, yes, there has been this attack on the security forces in Handwara earlier in the evening, in which the militants apparently attacked this party of the CRPF and managed to injure the CRPF personnel. Two of the CRPF personnel were reportedly killed right on the spot, while as others were injured. One of them who were injured succumbed later on to his injuries. So the death toll is 3 in this particular attack. There was another body also which has been recovered from the site of the shootout. The security forces are saying that they are still ascertaining the identity of that particular person. But yes, a big attack once again coming in the valley. In fact, there have been 2 attacks that have taken place today. There was a grenade attack also in Wagura area of Srinagar, in which 1 security personnel was injured. Let's remember, it comes just a day after we saw that big attack in Handwara. In fact, in that encounter in which 5 security personnel were killed, and of course 2 militants of the Lashkar-e-Toiba outfit were also gunned down.
The security forces have mounted a massive offensive against terrorists, and this Pakistan's desperate attempt to hit back. Now, terrorist recruitment has been at an all-time low. 35 is what we've been told this year, as against 65 terrorists killed so far, and 28 terrorists were killed in the month of April alone. There's more breaking news that's coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hit out at terror in our country and terror that comes from the region. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was addressing the Non-Aligned Movement Summit via video conferencing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave details about India's efforts to fight the novel coronavirus. He also spoke at length about how the world considers India as the pharmacy to the world. India is considered as a life giver. More than 100 countries have got medicines, much needed life-saving drugs from India. The Prime Minister also used this opportunity to hit out at the virus of terror. While India spreads life, there is a country in the neighborhood that spreads the virus of terror. Let's listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
India's civilization sees the whole world is as one family. As we care for our own citizens, we are also extending help to other countries. To counter COVID-19, we have promoted coordination in our immediate neighborhood, and we are organizing online training to share India's medical expertise with many others. Even as the world fights COVID-19, some people are busy spreading other deadly viruses such as terrorism, such as fake news and doctored videos to divide communities and countries.
We will talk about this in greater detail, but at this point of time, we must focus on the 5 braves of the Indian Army and the Jammu and Kashmir Police. As their mortal remains were consigned to flames, there wasn't a dry eye. One brave Jammu and Kashmir police officer made the supreme sacrifice of his life. His body, of course, was laid to rest in North Kashmir. Colonel Ashutosh Sharma, the commanding officer, Major Anuj Sood, the company commander. Incidentally, Major Anuj Sood is a 2nd generation officer. One of the Jawans, Lance Naik, Joginder Singh is a 4th generation of a soldier of the Indian Army. There wasn't a dry eye when their mortal remains were consigned to flames.
there wasn't a dry eye when the mortal remains of the 4 army braves who made the supreme sacrifice of their lives battling terrorists were consigned to the flames. Colonel Ashutosh Sharma's mortal remains were flown to Jaipur, where his family and friends bid the brave a tearful farewell.
I spoke to him on 1st of May. It was 26th raising day of his battalion, 21 RR. That time we spoke for a while, I would say hardly for a minute or so. I just want to know my country. I am a brave woman of Colonel Ashutosh Sharma.
Brigadier Chandrakant Sood, father of Major Anuj Sood, the 21 Rashtriya Rifles company commander, received his son's mortal remains. The second generation officer made the supreme sacrifice as well in the Handwara encounter.
He has made the supreme sacrifice for saving others as a call of his duty and what he was trained for. He happens to be from a total army background, being second generation officer, and I feel a little sad about his wife for the fact that they had just got married.
Colonel Ashutosh Sharma, Major Anuj Sood, Lance Naik Dinesh Singh and Naik Rajesh Kumar made the supreme sacrifice in Handwara, fighting Pakistan's state-sponsored terror. And in North Kashmir, the entire village shed a tear for Sub-Inspector Qazi, who too fell fighting the Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists. The real homage to our braves would be to destroy terror before it ever reaches our borders again. Bureau Report, India Today.
That truly would be real homage to our braves who've made the supreme sacrifice to keep India together, India first. Lieutenant General Gurmit Singh is former Kashmir Corps commander. He joins me on the show. I'll come to him in just a moment, but before that I want to cut across to India Today's editor defense, Abhishek Bhalla. Abhishek, as our soldiers, as the armed forces, they bid farewell to their brothers in arms, there is a pledge that terror will not be allowed to succeed and terrorists and their handlers will pay.
Well, the mortal remains of the 4 Bravehearts were taken from Srinagar today in an Air Force aircraft. The first halt was in Chandi Mandir. That's where Major Sood's family received the mortal remains. The second halt was in Bareilly. From there, there was a helicopter that took the mortal remains of one of the army Jawans to Haldwani, and thereafter the final destination was Jaipur. That's where the family of Colonel Ashutosh, the commanding officer of 21 Rashtriya Rifles, resides. And tomorrow, obviously, it will be a very, very solemn occasion when the funeral, the last rites of these 4 Bravehearts of the army will take place. Remember, the 5th person who laid down his life was a sub-inspector of the Jammu and Kashmir Police. This morning in Srinagar in 15 Corps, a final guard of honor was given to the 4 army personnel. The Northern Army Commander Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi himself was present leading the guard of honor. Obviously, tomorrow when the last rites take place, it will be a very, very somber occasion for not just the families but the entire country that will pay their last homage to these brave hearts.
Terror must not be allowed to flourish in our country. Terrorists and their handlers must pay. Let me bring in Lieutenant General Gurmit Singh for more on the story. General Gurmit Singh, what explains this sudden spurt? 2 big attacks in Handwara, one on the CRPF today, and 30 years ago, the other attack where we lost our 5 braves.
Gaurav, if one analyzes it intellectually and with experience, one can say that it is because summers are up. This is a time when the terrorism acts, they tend to go up. It is also indicative of the desperate situation that Pakistan, ISI, terrorist groups are in. This is the time when if you look at this area of Handwara, especially this area of 21 RR, it is surrounded by Rajwar forest, of Ruda forest. This is the time when they have come out of their hideout. They must be getting compelling instructions from their handlers across in Pakistan, ISI. And Pakistan, if you critically see, their game is up, especially from 5th August 2019, last year, their game is absolutely up. They have lost on every account of it, whether it's a diplomatic, economy, governance, and now even the corona is hitting them hard. It is because they brought them into this situation of theirs because of proxy. But unfortunately, they have learned no lesson from it. And they want, actually, it is a situation where I think we are looking at the solution.
You haven't taught them a lesson hard enough. One surgical strike, one air strike, a couple of other deep raids, couple of artillery duels at the line of control. Pakistan is not learning its lessons just with this. Perhaps it needs to be taught a harder lesson, whatever way that lesson may be. We are not advocating war. There is no warmongering. But we cannot continue to bleed. Every year summer comes. Every year we deal with Pakistan state-sponsored terror. One summer let Pakistan bleed more so that they know next summer they dare not try something with us.
Gaurav, one thing is definite. The next step, you call it avenge, you call it revenge, or you call it solution. Now we will enter into solution phase of it. Whether it is the next, I would say the method and the time will be confidential. But one thing is definite, that the level and how deep it will be, how intense it will be a defining. There is no doubt about this. Because the trend that we are on now at the moment is that it will be finished in whatever form. I would even go to the extent of it that the conclusion of the problem Pakistan, conclusion of the problem terrorism, it must start, because now the time is there to stop this nonsense that Pakistan has entered into. These are challenging times. In fact, Pakistan is, you correctly said, it is a visible virus. It's a visible threat. It's a visible challenge.
Yes.
And we got to conclude it. I think it's a responsibility of our nation. In fact, you heard the father of the martyr, who himself is a veteran, and you heard the lady wife. They both said that it is call of the nation, it's the call of the duty. I would say the call of the moment is that we've got to get into a concluding terms on this problem.
Absolutely. 30 years, long enough to deal with a state sponsor of terror. 30 years, if Pakistan hasn't mended its ways, then I think we need to realize that Pakistan will not get sorted out unless Pakistan is sorted out effectively. That's the point. Generally, you're absolutely right. I spoke to Mrs. Sharma, I spoke to Pallavi Ashutosh Sharma. Just as that information had come in, a very brave army wife. Listen in to what she said about her husband's valor, his character, and the lessons for us. Ma'am, if I may, when was the last time you spoke to Colonel Sharma, ma'am?
I spoke to him on 1st of May. It was 26th raising day of his battalion, 21 RR. That time we spoke for a while, I would say hardly for a minute or so.
I believe he had the option to command his unit in peace, but he chose to command a Rashtriya Rifles unit in the valley in North Kashmir. Is that true? Did the two of you discuss this, ma'am?
It was, I would say, a mutual decision. He took permission from me. It was something mutual. I want to command in field. I want to command my men. I want to serve nation. So should I go for it? Will you support me? I said, it's totally for me, it's about your happiness and your satisfaction. I would never want you to command in peace and having all those luxuries, and you not being happy and satisfied. That was the thing we discussed.
Is there something that you can tell us about his nature? And did he discuss this with you earlier operations? The fact that he won a Sena medal twice for gallantry in the past, ma'am? And also, what have you learnt about what happened here, ma'am?
Definitely, Mr. Sound. At present, I am really not in picture what happened yesterday over there. I'm not in that mind frame to have that details, but definitely I personally feel saving those civilians, saving those Kashmiris over there make no sense, and that too at cost of army officers, at cost of army lives. It makes no sense. It's a big loss for everyone. At the same time, it's a gain for me, I would say, in terms of honor, in terms of sacrifice he had done. But then one should understand no one can ever match the way he used to lead his men, the way he used to care about them, the way he was so honest towards his profession.
She's absolutely right when she says there's no point saving the lives of terrorists, no point trying to get them to surrender. If they're holding a gun, they need to be dealt with accordingly. Is that the thinking across the country? Do the armed forces need more robust rules of engagement with gun-wielding terrorists is a question that the nation must grapple with. India has also upped the ante diplomatically. India issued a strong démarche to Pakistan on the issue of Gilgit and Baltistan, Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. India has conveyed a strong protest to Pakistan over Pakistan Supreme Court's decision for holding general elections in Gilgit and Baltistan in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The Ministry of External Affairs told Pakistan that the entire state of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, including Gilgit and Baltistan, are an integral part of India, and that Islamabad should immediately vacate areas in its illegal occupation. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan for more on this story. Geeta, as the world fights the novel coronavirus, Pakistan continues to send the virus of terror, and now there appears to be a very desperate attempt by Pakistan, perhaps under Chinese pressure, for China-Pakistan Economic Corridor to make Gilgit-Baltistan the 5th province. Is that the conspiracy?
Well, Pakistan is in serious violation. In fact, Pakistan has been in serious violation for many years now since they separated Gilgit-Baltistan from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. They have tried to show that Gilgit-Baltistan is a part of Pakistan. The demography of Gilgit-Baltistan has been changed. This despite the people of Gilgit-Baltistan protesting against the kind of actions being taken by Pakistan. India has lodged a very strong protest against the Supreme Court order allowing elections and amendments within Pakistan that could have serious ramifications on India's stakes in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, that part of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, because it no longer is a part of POK. And if the Pakistani judiciary and the Pakistani government laws apply to Gilgit-Baltistan, that in itself, without having it be called the 5th province of Pakistan, changes the status. So what India is saying is that there cannot be any material changes, and that's what India has protested. There has been a counter protest from Pakistan that was much expected, but India is very clear that Gilgit-Baltistan, as all other parts of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, are an integral part of India and will remain so.
Geeta Mohan, for the moment, many thanks for joining me here. So while our forces fight the virus of Pakistan state-sponsored terror, you and I, are we all safe when we battle coronavirus? We're out on the streets. The government has now made the Aarogya Setu app mandatory, not just for government employees, but also for those in the private sector. The question remains, will it now become mandatory in the days and weeks to come if you want to be out in public and travel in public transport?
Aarogya Setu app is being touted as India's Brahmastra in fighting the coronavirus pandemic. The centre has made the contact tracing app mandatory for all employees, both private and government. It is also encouraging citizens to download and use its location and Bluetooth-based mobile application. India Today conducted a reality check on day 1 of Lockdown 3.0.
Did your management send out any letter? Did your management send out any communication? Because now the government is saying anyone who's working should have it.
Initially only we downloaded by ourselves, but our organization has also advised us to download the app. We have got official mails to download the app.
मैंने डाउनलोड करने का तो सोचा था, पर कुछ लोगों का ऐसा कहना है कि उससे प्राइवेसी लीक हो रही है और मतलब जो भी हमारा डेटा है वो गवर्नमेंट उसको डिटेक्ट कर रही है, तो इस वजह से मैंने डाउनलोड नहीं किया.
All police personnel on duty have downloaded the app. The app alerts users if they come in contact with COVID-19 patients. Using Bluetooth and GPS tracking, it pinpoints the location of the user and calculates the risk of infection based on proximity to any patient. The app also provides useful instructions in combating the viral disease. The government is likely to use the app to issue e-passes to facilitate travel from one place to another.
Through the app, we can catch the disease, we can catch the virus, even though it is trying to spread insidiously through asymptomatic people. That's why you should download the app.
The Congress is calling the app a sophisticated surveillance system, a charge vehemently denied by the government, which asserts it has a robust data security architecture.
In absence of a data privacy law, despite right to privacy being a fundamental right, how can an app which also has a dual purpose of surveillance, where data is not appropriately stored, we do not know what purpose for the data can be used for, it would be a gross sacrilege against the right of privacy.
Now Google has come out with such an app. So world over this app is being preferred over other means of tracking. I think that's a base scientific instrument. There is nothing of privacy related matter or any information to be collected. There is no information.
Activists say that user consent, a fundamental principle for digital privacy, has been rendered meaningless with the centre making the Aarogya Setu app mandatory for a large section of people. Maybe desperate times call for desperate measures.
Though the Congress calls the Aarogya Setu app a sophisticated surveillance mechanism, the government insists it is a contact tracing app similar to those being used by other democracies to check COVID-19 cases. As of now, it's mandatory for employees of public sector and private sector. Will it become mandatory for all before they board an aircraft or a train or enter a mall marketplace remains to be seen. And then how does the government address privacy issues? With Himanshu Mishra and cameraman Kripal Singh,
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.